Alright, we are live. What's going on, Mighty Joe? How are you? Wait for some people to film through. Oh, let's just start. Maybe that's better. That's probably a little better, right? Not like looking at my closet that had a reflection. Alright guys, let's just wait for the chat to fill in here a little bit. What's going on, Wildfire? What's going on, Ezekiel? Dustin. You guys are here. Alright. Ask away. This is live Q&A, and then somewhere in the midst we'll probably give away some decals. I have decals here. Old Johnny. This is from the John Yacht. Oh, that's pretty cool. Got some of these. I got like other ones too. Yeah, these two. Like, we got some. So, back. We're just gonna go back with like one of our traditional kind of lives. We just talk about stuff and BS and answer questions. You guys can talk to each other in the chat, ask each other questions. A lot of people are pretty knowledgeable in there. And then we'll just be giving decals away by asking random questions that most people don't like ever know. And then after like 8 or 10 guesses, somebody guesses it, and then they get the decal. Or we'll figure out something maybe smarter than that. So how you guys been? How's things? Is like the weather adversely affecting like your area? Because I don't know, we're having weird weather. We're like a month behind everything down here. Okay. All right, Wildfire. Hold on. Thank you till ever. Oh, would I ever do like a cheap fiberglass boat or to bass boat? No. Maybe. I'm not really set. You kind of have to be set up to do fiberglass. It's not that fiberglass itself is like hard to do, because it really is not. It's 2-part resin that you just saturate glass mat and you form it. You make sure there's no air bubbles in it. Make sure it's all soaking in there, and then it's formed. So that it's not hard to do. It's all the sanding and all the compounds and all the stuff that you really kind of need a controlled environment for that. You need a fairly clear garage that you can get all that dust and stuff just everywhere, and then it's not all over your tools. Yeah, we're talking about you sand that stuff. It'll like be in your garage for days, for years, for weeks, for months, like a long time. Like you'll never get it clean, and then it gets in your skin, or you inhale it. And you also got to get that silly suit, or you got to deal with it getting in your skin. You got to wear respirator all the time. It's not that it's the process that sucks on glass. It's not the actual glass is like hard to do. So I don't know. That's why only so many people do it. So I'm just truly my garage. I have like everything out of my garage. I would destroy it trying to do. I have that bass boat. I have to do that one, and I already have slightly destroyed my bass boat. I'm trying to do it outside. I was trying to do it outside. Now it's hot. I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably still do it outside. Somehow. I'll figure it out. But it was not... Yeah, I still got that 16-foot nitro that I do plan on finishing someday. I just don't know when. But soon. Okay. Working on a Crestliner right now. Like an old fiberglass boat? That's cool. Like not a whole lot of people do that, but it's a big thing. So let me see here. Mike Stafford, you have an Express H20 bay with a plastic tub live well. When he says ice chest and a live well while fishing tournaments. I mean, it should probably already just do that. Just throw ice in it. Like it should have a plug. The plug should be actuated, whether it's controlled by a bilge pump or controlled by a valve, the plug, or just controlled by a plug that you put in the drain. If it's controlled by a drain, you can use the thing as an ice chest all day. Just drain the water, and then make sure before you do your next run and you actually put fish in it that you flush it with lake water for a little bit to get all the chlorine and whatever that's in the ice out, because naturally there's going to be chlorine in the ice. Or you have that regenerate stuff from like TH Marine or whatever. That stuff. One of the biggest things in that is a dechlorinator. So just make sure if you're gonna put any sort of like tap water or anything in a live well, make sure you flush it all out. What's the best thickness of wood for a 14-foot? Like what for the deck, Ezekiel? Half inch. Unless you're like a larger person, then like 5/8. I would try to avoid 3/4 at all costs. The 14-foot boat is not very big. 5/8 is still pretty heavy, but most people can get away with half inch and like tight framing, like framing about a foot or so between sections. You have a lot of braces and under supports, you'd be all right. You can run half inch. Yeah, that's where the majority of your weight's going to stack in. It's the deck or the sheet metal. It's like the wood or the sheet metal that creates the most weight in your boat. You'll feel light. You'll be able to move it around. You stick the deck in it. You start sticking side panels in it. It starts getting really heavy. It's the sheets. So, okay, let me see this. All right, Dustin DIY, what's going on, man? I appreciate all your comments and stuff. I do see them a lot. Do you think you would make a tiny? Do you think you would make a tiny boat fully modded but actually designed for bigger water or bad waves? Yeah, I've already kind of done that. Kind of. Yeah, actually, yeah. But I did it with a 14-foot Starcraft, and it was all right. Like I don't know, for big waves, try and find an Alaskan hull. Try to find a 16-foot Alaskan hull, or a 15.5 foot. It's like a half a foot off. A 15 or 16-foot Alaskan hull, even a 14-foot Alaskan style hull with like high walls and that big strong B, like Lund makes a 14-footer that's rated for a 40 horse. That thing will plow right through waves, right through them. I think my favorite boat ever was an Alaskan style smoking craft. I still have the hull. I gutted the whole boat, and in hopes I'd rebuild it soon. And that was a lie. Never gonna. I don't know when I'm gonna rebuild it. It's got a brand new motor on it, and I don't know what to do. So, yeah. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. I don't know. Lake Erie's legit. Like I would probably would not go on Lake Erie with anything other than an Alaskan style hull, whether it's 14 or 16 foot. I would not go out with anything else. When I would not go out there with a Gregor or a Valco or a Grumman. Well, maybe a Grumman, depending on what it's like. It's that specifically that Alaskan style hull that's meant to just like make it in life. Like that's like the safest hull you can get. Personally, I think it's like the best hull you can have. Like they even started copying that. You know, like they had bass boats forever with they're just flat and low and flat and low. And obviously that's still like the trend. But then like Lund started making their deep V bass boats because deep V's actually make really good bass boats, and they can handle waves better. Go figure. They can handle like the elements better. And so Lund is really their target population is people on the Great Lakes and bigger lakes in nasty weather. So I personally would rather have like Lund's like DV bass boat than, and if I was supposed to get like, if I had to go get one like today, just for whatever reason, I would go get that one. I would never go get the other ones. And also like the ZV, like the Nitro ZV line, and then whatever the equivalent that is to all the other boats. The ZV boat is pretty dope. It's like just a bigger, deeper, more capable bass boat. What's going on, Al? What's going on, Al? How are you doing? Oh, Wildfire, you're saying you're gutting it and build it with a wood frame inside? Yeah, you can do that. You can just need to find like ways to secure the wood to the deck. You probably need a lot of 5200. It's kind of hard, but you can glass right over the wood. It's almost really weird. I did a wood frame inside a Carolina skiff. That was like a bare hole skiff, 14 foot, and it worked. but it also shook, and fiberglass cracks. Like it's almost just worth it just to kind of glass it. But you could just put it in there and like put like rubber. There's not a really good way to fasten it in there. I did it with like rubber bushings and screws through the sidewalls, and so the floor was never actually attached to the floor. It was just sitting there on like a rubber mat to kind of cushion the constant shaking. It wasn't terribly intelligent. It was a super long time ago that I did that, but I tell you, just go through the work. If you're going to do a glass boat, just fiberglass the compartments in. Try. Well, at least think about it. You can still do it without it. But if you're really starting to go at high speeds with that boat, the frame will start shaking apart if you don't glass it. It's just what it is. Let me see here. I always like watch these streams. I make the stupidest face when I'm looking through comments. I used to do it on my phone when I used to be scrolling like this. I'm glad I quit that. Like a legit kind of setup here. It's about as good as it's gonna get. Okay, Dustin, low profile furniture. Furniture mover or garage crawler? What? What is that? Garage crawler. Let me look at that. I don't see it. All that's coming up for garage crawler is like mechanic seats. You know, those little things they roll around in to save their back. I don't actually see it. I'll go look into that. Low profile. Oh, furniture move. Okay. What clearance for that pontoon in your garage instead of a trailer? I still have clearance for it. It's just not going to stick in all the way. I'm not going to have to do a whole lot to the bottom. So, I mean, once that's all done, it's all done. All right, so Mike Stafford, how you doing? You threw ice in the bag? Oh. Well, I mean, if that live ball is not insulated, a lot of them are supposed to be insulated, but if it's not insulated, then you can't really use it as a cooler. So it's probably, obviously, if it melts an hour, then there's no way that's insulated. So you kind of either have to find a unique way to foam around it without messing the boat up, if you can even get in there inside a boat like that. And that would work. You might be able to pull that off. Other than that, I don't have a good answer for how you would do that. That would be pretty... It is a TX-17. It is an aluminum boat, so... I don't know. I don't have a good... It just depends on how... Oh, it's an 88. What's on the side of it and what's... I mean, there's got to be... What? What's in front of it? Just look on what's on all four corners. Underneath it's foamed. So you just have to figure out a way to like put like a foam board, like 1.5-inch foam board from the store. You have to figure out a way to kind of fasten that on all four sides, and then it could become a cooler. Otherwise, I don't know what you would do. Instead of doing a giveaway, Mario, where we fix someone's boat, you know, my guys have gotten pretty busy, and it's really hard for us to kind of band together to build another boat for anybody. So if giveaways are probably going to just be done by me down here, like that, the crew assembling again together, I don't know where that's going to go. It was, yeah, there's I don't really know if that's going to happen again, but we can give a boat away down here. Like, I have 10 boats, 8, 10, a lot. I have a lot of boats. I can't use 10 boats. I'm like one person. I need 2, maybe 3. Yeah, like a small one, a really small one that fits in the toy hauler, and like an actual bass boat, an actual tiny bass boat, like a real one. Like that probably would be my smoker craft that we talked about, the Alaskan hull, and then a pontoon boat for the family, that I'm going to build here pretty soon, but probably I'll end up building a 1648 budget build before that. And then that's my 3. And then the other boats, that's out of 10, 7 of them are being given away. Like, I don't need them. The channel fund, my company and the channel funds all those builds anyways. So, like, you guys should just get them back. So, but I don't need the crew to come down here to do it. Like, they got their own stuff going on. They got their own customers, their own builds, and so we will be giving more boats away for sure. All right. Let me read up here. Your brother just bought an 88 tracker tournament. Okay. Sweet. That transom's got to be terrible to redo. You gotta break all those welds. You know, the best boats are when like you have like the bolted on transom cap and end caps. Like, that never happens though. They always weld them. Then you're gonna have to figure out a way to get around that. But that's not impossible. You can do it without welding. It just stinks. Is there extra weight to put a 45 outboard to upgrade a 25? The only light 45 horsepower outboard you might find floating around today that is light is, what is it? A Tohatsu, like 2-stroke 40 horse. That was only 115 pounds, that motor. I had a short shaft one. I loved that motor. I couldn't find parts for it, so I got paranoid. I had to pay a lot of money to get it fixed, and then I just sold it because it's like, well, if it breaks again, then what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna. So I sold all my 2-strokes, but the lightest motor you're gonna find on the market for the 25 to 40 horsepower range, not a 45, but a 25 to 40 horsepower range, is like 2-strokes. Today's 40 horses, 4-strokes, those are heavy. Because I think they run out the block. I think 40 to 60 is the same block. I think. I could be wrong. It's very, but that motor is obscene. You can't move that motor with one person. It definitely 40 would add, but you can move a 25 if you're like one strong individual. You can grab a 25 and move it. But if you're a strong individual, like, you have to be obscenely strong, like on steroids, to move a 40. And then you would struggle because a 40 is heavy and big. Like, it's too big. Like, and there's a big disparity also fishing with 4 eyes. Good name there. Is the holes that were made back in the day were made to kind of tailor and pair with the 2-strokes, which are lighter, and with those horsepower, the way they measured horsepower, I think it was at the flywheel, not the prop. And then they switched it to the prop. Then they went to 4-strokes, and they were like way heavier. And then you start seeing the boats, like the butt end, they flare out more. If you see like the 16 or 17 foot like trackers in Bass Pro shops, like the cheaper ones that still look like John boats, they all taper out real wide at the back, and that's to compensate for the added amount of weight that comes with these outboards because they are so much heavier. So if you put a brand new 40, or even a brand new 25, like, your boat will sink in the back, like, more. Is just what it is. You should, I mean, the only way you can really get around that is like adding pods. Okay. Shout out to 3G for being 90% done with his boat. That's a huge accomplishment. You think you're 90% done, but once you get really close to being done, you find out you're not close. So just be prepared for that. I don't want to take the wind out of your sails there. But when it looks almost like it's almost done, you have to do like 100 more things. Okay. All right. Okay, Dustin, did I make a video for clearance for my pontoon? I haven't even started the mullet tune yet because nobody cares about the mullet tune. Like, the hardcore audience at TBN wants a 1648 John boat. It overwhelmingly beat the other 3 or the other 2 options, including the mullet tune. Mullet tune came in second. I wanted to push the mullet tune like now, because the time would have been now to build it before it got too obsessively hot. But then, you know, nothing comes easy in struggle build, and I had to, like, the planning, and then once we had a really good layout made, now I gotta wait for hatches. So I thought about just making my own hatches, but that really doesn't, I mean, to make them doesn't really help you guys. I don't know, because like the tools I have, I don't think that most people. So we're trying to get them done, like a version of them done through like our store, to where people, if you want this hatch layout, you can get it. Otherwise, I it just ran into complications, put it that way. But the layout I have selected for the pontoon boat will be pretty cool. But I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to it. But I'd rather get to these small boats that I can do in my garage. I can do one after the other with the air conditioner. You have to pay the money for the mini split. I'll go get a mini split in my garage, and I'll have like a glorified window AC in there, plus the mini split. In between that, and I also thought about, I was gonna like try and rip off my roof, because my roof is terrible. Like the ceiling, not the actual roof, but the ceiling, because it's got problems. But I thought about not doing that because that's a lot of work, and I thought about just like putting blown insulation up there and figuring out if that's doable. I gotta talk to somebody who's smart and like tech savvy with that stuff. I gotta find a specialist. It's kind of hard in this little town. It's so weird. These people here in this town, they're so busy all the time. They can just pick and choose who they want to talk to. That's cool. Like, you're spoiled for choice and everything, but it doesn't help. Like, I don't know. Can you put blown insulation inside a garage? It's like, because I don't know. I'm super unsavvy on actual household things. Like, can I pull it off? Yeah, I'll go and learn. But in terms of like actual experience with somebody like a contractor who like knows their stuff, like, can you put that in a garage? Like, can you just, I don't know. They have the blow-in insulation. They also have the foam insulation. They have kits for that. I was gonna buy that, but then I have to rip out the whole roof to get that done correctly. But it looks like that machine, you could just blow in insulation from like a hole in the roof, right? You just gotta get a flashlight and just coat it evenly. Like, 'cause I will do that. The roof is hollow. Pisses me off real bad, because like where I'm dying in that garage, I could never figure it out why it was just so much hotter in the garage, and then I got a leak in the roof. So after I cut that thing, I was like, this thing is hollow, the whole thing. No insulation, none. Just insulated the walls, didn't insulate the roof. The roof is what gets beat by the sun all day. Why don't you insulate the roof? There's the people, I don't know, the stuff that people pull to make houses cheap, like just to get them done, that you'll never see until it breaks and you got to fix it. The stuff that's done to this house, you know, not terribly happy, but whatever. I mean, I'm sure all of you in this audience are very capable of handling stuff like that. So, and I'll try to. Let's get back to the question. I'm rambling here. Hold on. I don't want to like bore you guys with my garage failure problems, but it's a real problem. If I can fix this though, then I can have a really productive summer of getting like 2 or 3 boats done. I believe that. So it's on my list, my short list of things to do. Okay. Okay, Jackwood. Will the 7/8 rivets work with 5/8 plywood? It should. If it's a legit 7/8 inch grip, 1 inches will definitely work. I would just get the 1 inch rivets. There's better. We sell them by the pack of like 25. Or if you can find them at a local shop, that's cool too. Like sometimes you'll go to like a welding shop and they'll have them. Okay, Mike Sefford. You're pulling a gas tank and added a recirculation pump to the live well, which would be better. Dude, like foam board is so much easier to do it with. The spray foam that you get in a can, when you start layering it on top of each other and it can't actually dry, it just turns into liquid later and it's actually not doing anything. I would try to foam board, and then any gaps between the foam board I would hit with that liquid gap filler, that spraying gap filler, and that will kind of. You can also use the spraying gap filler to kind of glue the foam board to the live wall, and that'll work. That would work theoretically. I've done that. That did work actually. It worked pretty good. Foam board is the easiest way to insulate anything. Okay. Right. I'm just reading through these. Some of you guys typed out like a lot of stuff. If you guys are down here, can you hit the like button? there's like, I don't know how many people are in this actual chat, but I know we only got like 8 likes. And I know that really affects viewership of YouTube spreading the chat, the live. And I forgot to ask, and we've been like rolling here for a minute, so yeah, just gonna hit the like button, pop out. If you can't see it, pop out of the chat, and then you'll see it. And hit the like and just pop back into the chat. I'm trying to read Dustin DIY stuff here. Use standard arrow, Harbor Freight, rivet guns. Oh, you should not use a Harbor Freight rivet gun, Dustin, unless you want your hands to have arthritis by the age of 30. Or, like, it's just worth it to get one of those cheap rivet attaches you attach to a drill. Those aren't terribly reliable, but they're better. They'll save your hands. The arrow ratcheting rivet gun is actually probably the best one, but I would not get a Harbor Freight rivet gun and do a whole project with it. You pull like 500 to 1,000 rivets with a Harbor Freight rivet gun. Your hands, your joints only have so many cycles in them before you wear them out, and that's the truth. So, I mean, your hands are like your most valuable thing as a builder. I would go get, the best thing is just to go get a Milwaukee riveter. Or a pneumatic riveter. That's substantially cheaper than Milwaukee riveter. Just go get a pneumatic rivet gun. They sell that at Harbor Freight for pretty cheap. And then, I mean, the compressor is expensive, but I mean, once you get one compressor, it's an invaluable tool. Like a big one. I think I got one out there for like 300. I think it's a 20-gallon. It's a big tank. I don't know, but I bought it from Harbor Freight, and I love that thing. I don't know what I've been doing my whole life without a big compressor in my yard. And it's also quiet. It's also a super quiet one. It's not loud. Okay. So Jeff Mallory, you need some advice, so many things. The boat you did ended up in the scrapyard. Okay, well, yeah, 1975 Browning Aerocraft. I just need to know what kind of boat that is. And then what you need help on. And also, audience, if you want to like chime in, if you see a question, just kind of shout the person out with an @ sign, and you can kind of answer the questions too. Okay. Yeah, best money I've ever spent insulating the ceiling. Well, they rent a machine at Lowe's, Jeff, and they have the blow-in insulation right there. I thought about just going and getting it and doing it today. Or tomorrow. I might go do it tomorrow. I'm supposed to get a bunch of steel to weld a carrying rack that I'm going to put in my truck so I can carry this stupid kayak on the top of my truck. So I can have 2 boats when I go camping instead of just one. So somebody else, like my son, can use the other boat, but we'll see. What's going on, Zero Baits? How are you? All right. The bait maker taking on a boat build. I like it. I like it. I did it also but the other way. I do enjoy making baits. I'm so busy now, I don't know if I'll ever be able to make them again. It makes me sad, truly, but we'll see. Okay. Yeah, look, Justin, the pull handle, if that's all you gotta do, or if you got like a small job, but like the pulling, that is super bad for your hands. Like, how old are you, Dustin? Like, if I don't know, if your hands are really valuable to you, don't make your hands age. Like, if you're like, so yeah, you have 60-year-old hands by the time you're done with like one boat. You pull 1,000 rivets with a Harbor Freight rivet gun. Just like, I would get the pneumatic river. I'd get the Milwaukee one. I would do anything. And you could probably sell them. They hold their value pretty good. There's a lot of people that'll buy that for one project. Like, well, I don't need this anymore. And then a lot of people sell them through Facebook, the Facebook group, the TV Nation Facebook group. They do sell. So, I mean, yeah, I know it's like $300 or something. You generally can get them you can generally get most of your money out of them. Okay. All right, we're caught up, guys. What's going on, Matt? How are you? All right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you get a big air tank, you know, if you get a big air machine, I forgot what you call it now. Stupid. An air compressor. If you get a big air compressor, a large one, I mean, the CFM doesn't have to be terribly high if you just get a large enough tank that it fills up. I mean, the tank itself will keep up with your tool. And then you can get a bunch of like pneumatic tools, and that by itself is a pretty good thing. If you can't afford like a whole, or if you can't just get right now a whole like tool setup, because it is terribly expensive to go in and buy all the batteries plus the tools. The batteries specifically, the most expensive thing. Yeah, the bass are biting all over Arizona. It's kind of a crazy year. I mean, we're a year behind, but the fish are definitely out there. Definitely did have some good times out there. Was doing pretty good. I mean, it has some really good overcast days, and then the fish are coming out of it because I mean the weeds are already here. They're already pretty thick, so nothing you can really do but I don't know, throw chatterbaits over them. It's really hard to, yeah. I don't know. It's definitely a good time for swim jigs and chatterbaits, and then drop shots on anything that's not covered by a bunch of hydrilla. Think about a casting deck, then slowly working back while hopefully. Oh. Yeah, I mean, if you got to work on your boat in spurts, as long as you're okay with that and you don't care how it looks, and if you only got one boat, you only got one boat. You can find, like, I would try to find a beater boat somewhere and then have your project boat in the garage. Use your beater boat for your peace of mind and your mental health to go fishing. What's going on, Tarek? How are you? Have you thought about modding an aluminum floor? In an inflatable boat? You know, inflatable boats are kind of finicky. It's just the material. Like, the aluminum floor heating up and expanding and contracting. It's not the worst thing. I would almost just go ahead and cut a plywood floor and kind of just round that off and resin coat. You could drop anything. You could drop an aluminum one in there. It just heats up. Like, I think it's just like that heating up in the sun, like when you're out there fishing and it's just directly on the denier all the time and it's just heating up the denier. I think it'll cause problems because all the denier, whatever, however you pronounce it, it's all glued together, and then excessive heat does things to glue. Inflatables to me are sketch. It's not the fact that, like, if you can get it punctured or something. It's just that with enough use, the vinyl starts drying, and the glue starts to go. You get little small leaks, and all of a sudden you can have a whole pontoon failure. It is like the biggest problem. So, I mean, I had my aluminum boat. I'm sorry, I had my inflatable boat run like way back in like 2012, 2010 to 2012, and then I kind of just, I even had one all the way into 2015, but I gave it up. Like I couldn't trust it. All right. How did the Mercury electric motor work? It worked about as good as the e-propulsion. Have a motor in the top. No, the motor's not in the top. It's just the battery. The motor is in the lower unit. So I don't know why it was so loud, but they're definitely using a motor company that's loud. It's not quiet. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I liked how it looked. It looked like a Mercury. They made it very clear that we are here. At least it was authentic. You know, it wasn't a ripoff. Because arguably, I mean, you look at Torqeedo, the first to ever do it. Then you look at ePropulsion's design, and yeah, I'm a fan of their motors. But if we're being honest, you put a Torqeedo and you put that right next to each other, they look eerily similar. And yeah, there might be enough real style from the e-propulsion to claim that it wasn't trying to directly rip off Torpedo, but then there's things like the magnetic key fob and the handle and where the battery's placed, and then the whole shaft. So where there's an argument that there was, but then like Newport came in and ripped off e-propulsion, so they got all ripping off each other in terms of like actual designs for the electric outboards, but or I could just it looks like they're ripping off each other. I can't say that. But the only ones that really have any true authentic design is Elko and Mercury, where they have their own legit design that nobody has copied for that range. And that's like, so I don't know, that in terms of like looks, the Mercury is really nice. I still like it's still, I like it. Like I wanted it. Once I used it, I really did like it. I like how it performed. I didn't care that it was louder. I didn't care that it's heavier. I didn't care about any of that. It looks so good on my boat, and it performed so well on my boat. Like the shaft height was just the perfect height, and everybody was looking at it. I don't know. That's a super shallow reasons why I like that Mercury Avatar, but not like terribly logical reasons. Yeah. You bought a water tender 9.4. I wonder what that looks like. Mighty Joe, I think it sounds scary. A 9.4 foot boat. Where's that thing gonna go? Hopefully it's gonna go in your local pond, and that's it. Okay, so Off-Road X PNW. You have a 14-foot smoker craft. With an outboard, do you recommend 14-foot smoker craft? I would recommend like a 20 horse minimum. Probably a 15 horse minimum, but like I would recommend a 20 horse for a 14-foot boat. Most 14-foot boats can take a 20 horse. Like there's a few of them that are real thin that are rated for a 9.9 and that's it, but most can take a 15 to a 20. Some will take a 25 to a 40. Like the Lund Alaskan style 14 footers. Is that 14 foot smoker craft an Alaskan style hull, or is it one of the low profile like flat ones? I mean, I would look right on that rating, your safe horsepower rating on that tag, and I would get the biggest motor you could. Bigger, buy once, cry once on motors. Like truly, if you can do it. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the inflatables are already pretty super stable because they have dual buoyancy. They have buoyancy through water displacement and buoyancy just because air doesn't like to sink. So they're already pretty stable. I guess I mean if you're having issues with the floor, the floor feeling too soft for you, and then I mean I would stick in a plywood deck. I wouldn't bother with aluminum though. Aluminum per span is not as strong as wood. Aluminum, if you get the equivalent sheet of aluminum per piece of plywood, like say an 090 sheet of aluminum weighs about as much as a piece of plywood of half-inch plywood. But that you put a piece of half-inch plywood on a table like at both ends, that it'll stay rigid. You put a piece of like 090 sheeting on both ends, it'll just flop over and fold on itself. The wood is just a better option. If you're trying to get rigidity and stability, I would just use a wood deck inside an inflatable. Okay, looking through here, I got tracked a little bit. What's the lifespan of EVA foam? If you keep it out of the sun, it lasts a long time. If you don't keep it out of the sun, it doesn't last very long. That's the truth. Okay, yeah, definitely, Jeff. The transom is the first thing you need to tack on a boat. Like, there's no point to modify a boat too far into it unless the transom's okay. Oh, Mercury and Tohatsu is like the same thing. Off-road X. By the way, just put that out there. Like anything under 25 horse, or I think anything under 40 horse, is all made by Tohatsu through Mercury. And then I think it's the same for quite a few other motor companies. Even Yamahas. I know the Yamaha fans out there will take it to the grave and say it's not, but I'm pretty positive that Tohatsu makes those motors too. The Sandalphon Pro 120, the e-propulsion should probably push that thing about 5-6 mile an hour. Thong. Like, I don't know what the 120 is rated for, but the propulsion will kick it around. Probably you probably would it probably would do whatever your trolling motor is doing at 100% power. Like the e-propulsion probably do it at like 20% power, 20 or 25%. You just kick yourself around the lake the whole day, and kind of you wouldn't have to be on the trolling motor as much. It's pretty nice. Especially if you're not trying to plane anything. I don't really know if the Sun Dolphin Pro 120 can plane or not. I don't really. Well, I wonder what that's rated for. Can you tell me, Long, what is the Sun Dolphin Pro 120 rated for? And you know, I've been looking for one of those boats for like a long time. There was one in Kingman. I choked, didn't go get it. Never seen one since. I was like, I'll come across a new one. Nope. Nope. Have not found a new one. Matt, you've been messing with solar panels? Huh. You don't have enough. I don't know about. It seems like a little mess. I would like to run solar panels, but I don't know. I just run a generator, a quiet generator, and I would just have it charge my stuff all the time. I thought about buying a generator and just running it specifically for that, like a super quiet generator, so it doesn't piss off anybody out in the camp when I'm camping. But it's constantly just charging my batteries. I could just run it right there. Thanks, Tarek. Appreciate it. Okay. Everbrood, I mean BPI or MRP, or is it BPI or MRP? Those guys, I mean Everbrood is a dead company until somebody picks it up again. So we would like to see what Everbrood. I would have loved to see Everbrood stay in the game, but I guess I don't know. They kept trying to make their two strokes work, and I don't know. Their two strokes are really powerful. I don't know if they just had a failed marketing team. They couldn't get it together. But their motors are really powerful. I remember, like, because everybody's all stuck on Yamaha. And then I remember that I think Everbrood put one of their motors right directly against a Yamaha, like a show, and it was a bigger motor to plane this boat. There's 3 motors in the back of the boat. There's 2 Yamahas in it's either one Yamaha or I think it was 2. It was just the Yamaha and the Everbrood. They're pretty big motors. That was that. And the Yamaha could not plane the boat. And then the Everbrood planed the boat plus the Yamaha. So it planed the whole boat and the extra motor just all by itself. And then there was quite a few tests out there that Everbrood was better overall. I don't know what happened. I'd actually try to work with them. I could never get to work with them. I think their media team and their marketing team, they really stunk very badly, or they got paid off. I don't know what happened. Their sponsorship programs, I guess, didn't work. Something terribly wrong out there for Everbrood, for BRP to fall like that, especially at the height of the coof, when all the boat companies sold out of everything and couldn't get you a motor for like months, like 6-month wait for a motor. No, it's not like that now. Everything's back to normal, but no, I didn't shame you for having too tiny of a boat. I just wonder where it's gonna go safely. Like, I have a 10-footer. I only take that thing on small lakes though. All right, how stable the Tracker Grizzly 1648 Very. I've never been on one, but I mean a 1648 John boat by itself is pretty stable, and a Tracker Grizzly is a very heavy, thicker version of a 1648. It's probably pretty stable. Probably does just fine. All right, guys, my family is here, and they're just here. I hear them rustling around out there. I gotta go talk to them and see what they're doing. But it was a good live, guys. Take care. I'll see you guys here pretty soon. We're gonna be doing the 1648 budget build, and whenever we get to the mullet tune, we'll get to it. I'm just acquiring parts for it. In theory, it should be really easy to build, but I mean, it's a race against the heat, and if I have to race against the heat, then we might not see the mullet tune until fall. I'm hoping we don't do that. But if I have to postpone the mullet tune to do all these little stupid boats that have been in my yard for like 3 years, then that is what it is. We'll just do it that way. But I appreciate Appreciate you guys. I'll give you guys a call. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll do a live here later. We'll be doing. I know I promised I'd give some of these away, but we'll be doing another live. But I gotta get going. I'll see you guys later. Thank you.